Hey guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are having a great day today. So, today I want to talk to you about something a little more serious than what I have been posting on my channel. I feel it's something that needs to be talked about. I don't think it gets addressed enough, and it's something that I personally go through. So, I had a few ideas on what I wanted to do today as far as videos go, and the last couple of days I've kind of just been going through a little something, so today I just felt led to talk about this instead. So I am not a doctor, but I do want to express to you my personal testimony, and I want to share with you guys what I have experienced going through anxiety. I feel like anxiety is one of those silent things that can be hidden very, very well. I first had my first panic attack. I want to say it was between 2007 and 2009. I remember waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning and just watching the whole room spinning. My heart was racing. I was getting lightheaded. I had no idea what was going on. And at this point, I was living with my parents, so I rushed upstairs and told my parents, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm not feeling good. I need to go to the emergency room. So long story short, I went to the emergency room thinking, oh my God, something's wrong with my heart. Something's going on. And after blood tests, EKGs, x-rays, and everything, it was a panic attack. So I was a little bothered because I had no idea why I was getting this panic attack. Like, what happened? And I remember life after that was just not the same. Day in and day out, I would be fearful. I was living day to day being scared. I was having anxiety attacks like every other day. I got to the point where I was scared to go to sleep because of the fact that I was traumatized by being woken up with a panic attack in my sleep, and I've never heard anything like that. And I remember I couldn't sleep to save my life. So I went to my doctor at the time, and I was talking to him about it, and I'm not taking any medication for it anymore, but then I was prescribed Xanax. And so that kind of helped with, whenever I got an anxiety attack, it calmed me down. But the problem was I was still having them. And so because I was having issues going to sleep and I was anxious, I was trying to take them to help me go to sleep, and I would wake up in the middle of the night. So then I got prescribed a different type of sleeping medicine called Ambien. Now, again, full disclosure, I'm not a doctor, but this is what I experienced with this medication. Ambien is to help you sleep. And when I tell you it really knocked me out at night, it really knocked me out at night. Like, Ambien is one of those things you do not want to play around with. So, unfortunately, I got to a point where I started to get addicted to Ambien because I was so scared to go to sleep, and I was so scared to get an anxiety. I was taking Ambien probably 2 or 3 hours before I'm supposed to be going to sleep, which is 9, 10 o'clock, because I didn't want to deal with it. And then I was taking Xanax 3 times a day to make sure that I wasn't getting, so I was walking around like a zombie. So probably about a month in, I started to come to the realization that I was addicted to Ambien. And so I took myself off of it. And I called my doctor and I told him I didn't want to take it anymore. And I stopped taking it because I started to get addicted to it. And so from then on, it was really bad because I constantly went to the emergency room. I'm thinking that something's wrong because, again, this is all still new to me. I don't, my anxiety, I'm like, oh my God, like, What if it's not anxiety? What if it's something else? What if I'm having a heart attack? Or what if something's going? So it kept me going to the emergency room. And I can't tell you how much money I spent on hospital bills and doctor's visits, all to be told the same thing over and over and over again. So then I got to a point where I was prescribed antidepressants to suppress the anxiety because I was getting them so frequently. Now, the first 2 times I tried to take them, I did not like how I felt. And this was probably about a year after. So this was maybe about 2008, 2009. I was still going through a lot of anxiety. I was taking the antidepressants and took myself off like not even weeks at a time. And this happened twice before the third time I tried taking the very same ones, and I allowed myself to kind of go through the motions, and then eventually it just kicked into my system. And I will say that the upside to that was that the anxiety subsided a great amount, but I still had the anxiety to the point where I had to take medicine for it whenever I felt it. I am scared to fly, so I would take them whenever I had to fly. Even the thought of flying gave me anxiety. So then after a while, after probably about 3 years, I'm sorry, this was actually back in, I want to say 2013, where I got prescribed the antidepressants. Because 3 years after that, probably 3 or 4 years after that, I came off of them because I wanted to try to conceive. And you can't have any of that stuff in your system if you want to. So I came off of them, but I was scared because I didn't think that, I was going to be okay. But I was. So during that time, I took it upon myself to figure out how I can cope and how I can get rid of this anxiety without medication, because I didn't want to take the medication anymore. I didn't like the fact that I was so dependent on it. Like whenever I even felt a twitch of anything, I was popping, anxiety meds. And that's not the type of life that I wanted to live. And it's tough when you're going through anxiety. You feel like you're the only one going through it. You feel like you kind of don't want to talk to somebody about it because they may feel like you're crazy, or they may feel like something's wrong or anything like that. And I always say people who don't go through it, people who don't know what anxiety is, will simply tell you, oh, you're fine, you'll get over it. Just go have a drink or go do something. It's not that easy. Or people who don't have anxiety will go around and have a stressful day and say, oh my God, I'm getting anxiety, but you really don't know what anxiety feels like. And having anxiety is one of like the scariest feelings. I remember constantly getting them whenever I was driving. I used to work back in Connecticut. I was at an office and I was working 9 to 5, and I was going to hairdressing school at night, and I was traveling 30 minutes in traffic. And whenever I had to do that for probably about a year and a half straight, I was getting anxiety to the point where I felt like I had no control over myself. I was scared that I was going to get into a car accident. I was scared that something was going to happen. I constantly had bottles of water in my car just in case. And it got to the point where it got so bad. There was one week I remember I was in and out of the hospital. A friend of mine had passed away, and that didn't help my anxiety. When it was time for me to graduate cosmetology school, I had to take a leave of absence because my anxiety was that bad. I couldn't finish school. And I remember just feeling so disappointed in myself that I allowed something like this to take over my life so much. And so I began to do a lot of research on how to cope with anxiety. I remember reading a lot of articles on how to mentally get there, because I personally feel like it's all psychological. When it comes to anxiety, you give yourself anxiety by worrying about getting anxiety. And that's not any way to live, And I still from time to time go through anxiety, but absolutely nowhere near what I used to go through years ago. Probably about a year ago, 2 years ago, I went through like the darkest time of my life. And it was the first time that I was told that I was depressed. I was anxious, depressed. At this point, I stopped taking any medication for anxiety or anything like that like 3 years ago. So I got to a point where I was so strong that I learned how to suppress my own anxiety. And I've learned how to find articles. I would walk into the bookstore and I would read self-help books. The diet also affects your anxiety. I've learned how to do deep breathing. I've learned natural ways to allow myself to heal without the medication. And I refused when I going back to 2 years ago when I had this really dark year. I mean, I had ended a really bad relationship that really broke my heart to the point where I was in complete darkness. I didn't know what to do with myself. 2 months later, I lost a really good friend of mine who was murdered. A month after that, my car got totaled. And I really began to contemplate on going back on meds. That's how much anxiety and that's how depressed I was. But the biggest thing that helped me through my anxiety is prayer. I'm Christian and I am a very, very, very firm believer in the power of prayer. And that is the only thing that really helped me through those dark times. And so I allowed myself to be surrounded by a lot of positive people who will pray with me, pray over me. I've got friends who till this day cry for because they're happy for me, because at this point I am the happiest I've ever been. No, almost close to no anxiety. I'm happy, I'm confident, I am sure, I'm secure. This has been the most of any of those things that I have ever been in the past. So I definitely have a lot more that I want to discuss, but I just want to bring this to light, just to kind of bring something different to my channel, because I feel like I am now at a place where I can talk about this stuff and not feel any kind of way, and I can be a personal testimony to anyone who may feel like they're going through something like this and feel like they're alone. You are not alone. Trust me, I know exactly what you're feeling. I have been through it. I have gone through it. And the one thing that I want to say is that people with anxiety feel as though this is like a sickness and a disease, and they want to own it. They want to say, you know what, my anxiety was acting up today, or my anxiety is kicking in. Let me tell you something. Anxiety is not yours. You do not own anything that does not belong in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit, or in your body. So whatever this anxiety is, it is not yours to claim. Do not own it. Just allow yourself to say, you know what, I've got this anxiety, but I'm going to get through it. It is not yours. And I learned that a couple of years ago, to not own this anxiety. This anxiety is not mine. I do not want it. It doesn't belong here. It can go kick rocks with an open-toed shoe. Okay? So I just want to encourage you guys. I think that I'm going to start opening up a segment where we talk about anxiety and depression and things like that, and just mental health, because I feel like it's really, really important, especially during these times now where so much is going on and we are very limited to what we can do. So we can easily fall into that mental box where we're going through anxiety, or we're depressed because we can't go anywhere, or we're anxious because we feel like we can't do what we want, and we can't go on vacation, and we can't do this and we can't do that, so one can easily bounce back into that feeling. And I want to encourage you guys not to, and I want to keep this open for us to continue to talk about this. I do want to do a couple of other videos just to share with you guys the things that has helped me over the years and that I continue to practice without no medication, nothing of the sort. It's all natural. It's organic in every way possible. And I just want to encourage you guys that you guys are not alone. If you guys are, going through anything, going through anxiety, you don't want to talk about it, I want to open this up to you guys and let you guys know that it's real, but it doesn't have to take over your life. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think of my video. Let me know if you're comfortable, if you guys have gone through it and what you have done. I am always open to learning brand new ways to cope with anxiety, because I want to live my life fear-free, worry-free, anxiety-free, depression-free, sadness-free. You know, life will give you, will bring ups and downs, but how you handle it is what really matters. And I don't believe that anxiety should exist in your life. And I personally know that it's harder said than done, and it's easier said than done. But it's taken me a long time to get to this point. But I have had a lot of support, and I really did a lot of research, and my health and my mental health is my top priority. Because if I'm not well, nobody else is well around me, and I can't be good to anybody else either. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any tips or have gone through this or know anyone who goes through it, and what they have done to help their anxiety, and what they have done to cope, and how your life has flourished, how your life has gotten better and happier because you've done these things to help reduce or even eliminate this anxiety. So I encourage you guys, please come back. Let's talk about it. This is not going to be the last video that I make about anxiety or mental health for that matter. We will be continuously talking about it. You guys can drop a question and I can address it in another video if you'd like. But definitely leave a comment. Let me know. Let's talk about it. Let's continue to talk about it and shed light and help each other out. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to my channel, hit like and share. I will see you guys next time. Be well. Toodles.